What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, yesterday, Empire Magazine dropped their official preview issue for the upcoming Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And while it was a very interesting read and included a couple of new stills for the upcoming film, to me, the biggest reveal actually came days before the issue's drop, as Empire was posting digital excerpts, as they normally do, to their website to drive both hype for the issue and the upcoming film. One of the producers on Multiverse of Madness had no problems speaking candidly about Patrick Stewart, Professor X, which version we're actually watching, how that relates to X-Men in the MCU, and even including where Illuminati may fit in the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to break down all of his quotes and try to contextualize them where we can. I think it's extremely exciting news and very telling of exactly who we're going to see X-Men wise in the upcoming film. But first, if you could consider hitting the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, reviews, all the way to stories like today, industry insider scoops, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, consider hitting the sub button, leaving a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. And if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So again, this was posted by Empire Magazine and officially coming from one of the producers, Richie Palmer, on the upcoming Multiverse of Madness. Earlier in the week, they specifically asked him about Patrick Stewart and Professor X, and this is what he responded, quote, "Are you sure you saw what you saw? There are infinite versions of these characters, and just because you may have heard something familiar doesn't mean it's someone you may have seen before." He continued by saying, quote, "As you saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, some of the rumors ended up being true and some did not. I would love to see Tony Stark again, but some rumors are just rumors. I will say that I love the Illuminati, but if we were ever to introduce the Illuminati in the future, it might be more MCU driven and have some more ties to our characters in the MCU versus just replicating what's in the comics." Now let's work our way backwards, because a lot of us have just assumed that what we saw in the trailer was a multiversal Illuminati, but what he's basically saying is, even if that's the case with this group, that if they actually wanted to do Illuminati in the MCU, it would be a lot more forward thinking and including the heroes from our own timeline, a group grounded in what's going on our own existence plane, rather than this multiversal reality Illuminati or a one-off. So I'm thinking we're going to see an Illuminati group, yes, but this is going to be a one-off for this film and not how they would actually approach the group if they were going to do it justice in the MCU, which is cool because, as I've pointed to a million times, I pretty much think any returning character from a previous cinematic universe or variant thereof, which we're about to talk about in the case of Patrick Stewart, Professor X, is just extremely expensive cannon fodder. Now, working our way backwards even further than that, when he's talking about rumors and Tony Stark returning, we've all sort of pointed to Professor X, Patrick Stewart, and it hasn't been a rumor. When we see and hear that character, the immediate thought was, this has got to be the version from the X-Men we've already seen in a previous cinematic universe. But as Patrick Stewart said himself in an interview with comicbook.com weeks ago, which seems to be mirrored in the sentiment by producer Richie Palmer, is that we've already seen that version of Professor X die twice on screen, meaning when a lot of us, me included, went on to speculate that this wouldn't be that version from the X-Men, that indeed that's how you keep those stories intact and don't ruin the continuity of that original X-Men film. Yeah, that sounds like a joke in and of itself, referring to that original X-Men franchise as having any continuity at all. He said that he had to be a different Professor X, maybe even from the animated universe or something similar. That seems to be confirmed by this, and as I mentioned in the prologue, while I don't think it surely points to one version of Professor X, I think what it does do is conclude that this is not the one from the Fox X-Men universe. Any other variant thereof, but not the one that we've already seen. And while yes, Spider-Man No Way Home did introduce Tobey and Andrew, the two variants, yes, from previous cinematic universes, look at one of those final episodes of Loki, where we saw about 1 million variants of Loki, one of which looked and sounded exactly like our Tom Hiddleston's original variant from the MCU. Point being, Professor X, Patrick Stewart, there could be multiple of him across the universe, as he said, infinite versions, and so that's probably one of these versions, which means if we do see other Fox X-Men characters, they could also be different variants down the road, which is an awesome conclusion to draw from this, not only about what's going on with Illuminati and Professor X, but if we do see different variants of returning Fox X-Men characters, say a Hugh Jackman Wolverine, then perhaps you put him immediately in the yellow costume because he can have it now because he's a variant of what we saw in the Fox X-Men universe, which really for me, when I made that revelation live and had that epiphany while I was doing a video and did not edit it out, really for me is the most exciting thing, because where maybe some of these characters didn't get done justice in some of those previous Fox iterations, you can have the actor come back and then actually do justice by them in a much better version. Plus it gives those actors a chance to dip their toe in and for once and get into the MCU after they did such long service for some of those actors for those characters for decades or multiple films across the franchise. Yeah, you can just squeeze them in here real quick, let them be in the MCU, and for the actor themselves, the people, not the character, but for the people, that's got to mean a lot, right? It's got to go a long way. You saw how much it meant to Tobey and Andrew, and while they're unique in this situation, I don't think it would mean any less to any of those actors coming back, especially from those Fox movies, which, well, you know, depending on which one, are not the best superhero films ever made. My final thought for this video, because I voiced it already one time here at the channel during a Doctor Strange video last month and briefly mentioned it during this video, about these returning characters from old cinematic universes, or the actors coming back to play their same character but a different variant, just being expensive cannon fodder for Scarlet Witch. Let me explain that just a little bit. We already had sort of a culling of a lot of the original characters from the Infinity Saga, and know that some of them are not going to go past the third and fourth installments, Thor 4, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, as we press deeper into the MCU. Come on guys, some of these actors have been playing these roles for over 10 years. They're either aging out of them or just don't want to do this forever, and that's okay. It's the nature of the industry, but in that, you can't really go killing off any of the brand new characters from the MCU. Take, for instance, who I think is obviously Spectrum's mother in Photon. You can't go killing Monica Rambeau. She just entered the MCU, just got her powers. We need her in the future, but what you can do is bring back characters that we already know and love, or actors that we're familiar with, familiar faces for a ton of X-Men characters that we know from the source material, and have Wanda simply go through them. And that's where I get the quote, expensive cannon fodder, because it's giving agency really to the characters that we're seeing without ruining the future of the MCU or having to figure out a way to bring them back, which, let's face it, after they get obliterated by Scarlet Witch is probably not going to happen. But you can let me know your thoughts down below. Some of you were quick to say that you didn't agree at all and or thought that was a pretty morbid thought. Hey, you know what? Hey, it's going to be a pretty dark movie. We've seen blood in a Marvel trailer for the first time in a long time, and I'm actually super hyped for it. Let me know all your thoughts down below quickly. Let's jump into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Alright, we're still giving away PlayStation 5s here at the channel all the way up to 1 million subscribers. We're doing it every 20,000 subs instead of every 100,000 as a thank you and to give back to the community. The next one will be at 960. If you want to be entered to win for any of the future giveaways, all the same rules will always apply. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes with original music under the name Allfires. And while I'd sincerely appreciate you checking that channel out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.